Hello and welcome to Cricket Predicta, proudly sponsored by 1xBet, your favorite cricket show. I am Anant Kaur and as always we are ready to bring you the latest and most exciting updates from the world of cricket. IPL 2025 is heating up and the race to playoffs, that is seriously getting intense. First, let's talk about yesterday's match, which was a thriller. Last night, the Gujarat Titans made a strong statement once again. In a rain-hit game, they edged past Mumbai Indians by 3 wickets under the DLS method and pick up their 8th win of the season. Mumbai had set a target of 156 with Will Jacks playing a solid knock of 53. But rain had its say. The target was revised to 147 in 19 overs and Gujarat got there. Calmly, clinically. With this win, Gujarat climbs to the top of the table with 16 points and a healthy net run rate of plus 0.793, overtaking Royal Challengers Bengaluru in the process. But for Mumbai, this was a bit of a jolt. With 7 wins from 12 games, they have now dropped to 4th place and their winning momentum has been broken. And now all focus shift to today's big clash. The fans have been circled on in their calendars. Kolkata Knight Riders versus Chennai Super Kings at the iconic Eden Gardens. For Kolkata, it's do or die. If they want to stay alive in this playoff race, they simply have to win. No plan B. As for Chennai, they are out of the playoff equation this year. But pride is on the line and you can bet they'll fight till the end. Historically, Chennai have had the upper hand. Out of 31 meetings between them, CSK has won 19 while KKR has won 11 and one has been washed out. So what's going on to be tonight? Will Kolkata rise to the occasion and keep their homes alive? Or will Chennai, playing for pride with nothing to lose, pull off something special? Strap in, it's going to be a cracker. Now let's welcome our guests to talk about what is going to happen in today's match and all the predictions. Thank you so much for joining in. We have former Zimbabwe cricketer Stanley Chioza and sports journalist Paul Dennett. Hi Stanley, how are you doing today?
Oh, brilliant. At least for once, I got my prediction right. Gujarat Titans taking one over the Mumbai Indians and slowing things down. I think it was a battle of the bowlers. Plenty of bowlers in the wickets, but more importantly, the bowling unit that got the job done was that of Gujarat Titans, allowing their batsmen to get over a modest total over what could have been a difficult wicket and a difficult chase.
Oh, a lot happened in that match. And Paul, how are you doing today?
Hey man, hey Stanley. Yeah, it was a crazy game of cricket really, and came down to the last ball. And I keep on saying it, and I mean I'm not the only one. Everyone's saying it today that we almost need a new fielding position where it's when it's one needed off the final ball, you need someone standing right at the stumps and not the bowler, because it could have been very different if Mumbai had someone there to catch the return from Hardik Pandya, affect the run out. We could have had a super over last night, which would have been fitting given what a chaotic but fun game of cricket it was.
Oh, totally. And we discussed that it will go down to the wire, and it definitely did. And then now let's come up to today's match. And Paul, CSK has one-sidedly dominated the head-to-head player battle against KKR with 19 wins in 31 games. So is it going to be a concern for KKR also? And if we see CSK's form, who has more upper hand, especially when KKR has a lot online?
Yeah, I think it's definitely maybe CSK. You would look into the history and say that CSK would go to that sort of game as favourites, but that head-to-head record kind of goes into the bin given what we've seen here. Sadly, CSK's had a lamentable season, and the one time that they obviously played, it was a bruising win by KKR. Sunil Narine dominated them. They bowled them out for about 100 odd, got the runs very easily. So for KKR, as you said, they do have a chance of making the playoffs. It's unlikely, but it's still possible. They would actually, strangely enough, look at this game as one of the more likely ones that they're going to get a win. And for CSK, yeah, you can play with some freedom now that there's no upside, and maybe that's something that they need because they have been very, very slow with the bat all season. So a bit of freedom might help.
They have been slow, and it's showing that they're out of the race, and it's very difficult to see the 5-time champions out like this. And now Stanley, after getting eliminated early, CSK have nothing to lose. They're all praying for pride. They have had an underwhelming season according to their standards. So will this approach bring best out of them against KKR when they have nothing to lose on the line?
Well, certainly. I mean, look, their season is done and dusted. I mean, they're out of the competition. They're pretty much using real-life situations, real-life scenarios to prepare for next season. And I think what they are doing now and giving opportunities to players like Ayush what a brilliant and fantastic innings he's had in that last match where he got 94. Look, there are issues that they needed to sort out. And one issue for me was their lack of aggression, their lack of intent inside the power play. Who would have ever thought that the CSK would have the worst run rate inside the power play? The worst in the tournament in IPL 10. And this is a former five-time championship team. So obviously plans did not go according to plan. Things did not go according to how they've had issues with regards to the curator, their home staff. And I mean, up and above that, their own strength, which is spin bowling, has actually been their downfall as well in the middle period, losing 32 wickets inside the middle period alone at a strike rate of 124. So each other way you look, there have been problems. So they found it hard to solidify and keep those cracks intact. So I think going into this one, obviously, they have nothing to lose but an opportunity to try and prove one better in terms of who is there for CSK next season.
It surely looks like the 17-year-old Ayush Mhatre is there for the next season because he's been playing tremendously well, just 6 runs short of the century in the last match against RCB. So what do you think, Paul, here, that how will this come up, and especially seeing Mhatre's form, can he save CSK's that batting?
Well, he's been possibly the only bright spot for CSK, and in a season where there just seems to be an absolute plethora of young, exciting talent emerging, he is yet another. So I think that's going to be very exciting to see how he can go tonight. Sheikh Rashid, if he gets a game, obviously they regard him highly. He hasn't yet displayed anything too exciting yet, but he wouldn't be in there if they didn't regard him highly. But I think it's also going to be kind of what Stanley said. This is going to be an opportunity for them to for some of these players to try to get a retention because CSK, Stephen Fleming actually said that in hindsight they got the auction wrong, and they've had a couple of injuries and just a couple of players that didn't perform to expectations. So you can't blame it entirely on the auction, but you look at the side and you just think, yeah, there is some power missing. It's also an attitudinal thing. Stephen Fleming has had tremendous success there. Part of it has been by playing in a kind of a slightly more conservative fashion than some other sides. And as Stanley said, that part of that has been the pitch at Chepauk has helped them. And this season, and probably last season as well, they haven't been able to rely on it doing that. But Fleming is kind of doubling down and saying, no, I don't think that the game has moved forward so much that it's now all about crazy youth talent and just going at 15 runs per over. Yet, that's kind of the feeling I think that is existing. So it could be quite interesting because if they were to lose the last 3 games, finish the season on 4 points, that's when regime change comes in and the broom gets swept through. If they win the last 3, finish on 10, it's still going to be a diabolical season. But there are sort of gradations of that. So they, they're not really playing for much, but they are playing for that kind of some respectability, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. And seeing at their batting, they can go a step up and maybe trouble KKR. And Stanley, if you see that CSK's batting form has been in serious concern to the extent they have all-rounders Ravindra Jadeja and Shivam Dube as their top 2 leading run scorers with 260 and 256 runs respectively. So where does CSK need to work more and learn from this season? And how can they approach this game seeing what has been the season so far?
Well, what they need to work on for starters is to get it right in the auction. Because at the end of the day, when you now end up having all-rounders batting all the way up the order, that means you're in trouble. Okay, and there's no substitute for that. That means even their replacements are wrong. I mean, the only parts that they've managed to replace so far has been the young openers at the top. The middle order has just not been replaced. If you're going to get batsmen from right at the bottom to come up and allow them the opportunity to stand up, and up and above that, those lower order batsmen are now your top scorers in Shivam Dube, in the spin ball. I mean, it's bad. It's things are just not going well. His main job is to bowling all round. But now Jadeja is your top scorer and Shivam Dube in the middle. So batsmen, that's where the problem is. They have not got their batting combinations right this season, Chennai Super Kings.
Batting and bowling both seems to be not working. But coming to KKR now, Paul, Varun Chakravarti is the best bowler for KKR in the current season with 22 wickets. So where do they need to utilize Chakravarti today, and especially seeing what CSK going through, and that too when it's playing at Eden Gardens?
Well, I mean, they can use him anywhere because he's a champion and he is one of the best players of the season. He's taken, I think it's 15 wickets. He has a fabulous economy rate of just over 7 for the season, which puts him, I think, about 4th or 5th best for any bowler in the IPL. I think one of the things when you've got a bowler that good, and I've seen it plenty of times with Rashid Khan throughout the years as well, that sometimes captains feel that if they ration them one over here and one over there, maybe it's a human nature thing. You feel like you're getting more out of them. You don't want to waste them, yet you can't bowl them for 5 overs, you can't bowl them for 6 overs. So sometimes I feel that captains would be better off if the guy's doing well and has got a bit of a hot hand, give them that 3rd over, give that 4th over, rather than having to feel like you've got to bring them back. And I know that the counter thought to that is that, well, batters start to line you up and they get used to you. And yeah, I can see that. But to run one right back, I was watching some highlights the other night of an Okies, and the opening bowler was bowling well, and they just bowled him straight out 10 overs, and no one batted an eyelid. So we've got a lot more sophisticated since then. But sometimes I think we've got clever, and if a bowler's bowling really well, such as Chakravarti, keep him on for several overs in a row.
It seems like that Varun can be used anywhere, seeing what CSK's batting lineup is, and they're not performing that well. The chasing side has won 56 games out of 99 IPL games at the Eden Gardens, while team batting first has won 42 games. So Stanley, where do you think that CSK has that competent batting attack, and especially with now Ayush Mhatre performing well?
Well, look, when it comes to with the Eden Gardens, I'll probably go with the recent trends and what we've seen. And because KKR, obviously, their main strength is in the spinners, chances are you're more likely to get spinning conditions. And on spinning conditions, generally, you want to bowl second. So teams will generally want to bat first, hopefully to try and obviously take out the spin in terms of if you find yourself winning the toss, you look to want to bat first. However, the interesting part about KKR this season is how the spinners have not done very well bowling second. Okay, I beg your pardon, bowling first. So I think winning the toss here, a team like CSK, this will be on their mind. Win the toss, CSK will definitely want to bat first. Try and make sure that they take Varun out of the equation, take Sunil out of the equation. I mean, would you believe that Varun has only got 1 wicket bowling first at the Eden Gardens, and Sunil Nareen this season, by the way, has nothing. So that's something obviously CSK will be looking at. So definitely any team that comes into this competition, comes into this fixture, will be looking to chase at Eden Gardens.
So toss will be a very important thing here, Stanley, if we see that KKR spinners are not performing well when they are bowling in the first innings.
Most definitely. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the stats are there and the results are there. So at the end of the day, I think it's what's going to be interesting is who then uses that middle order to perfection. And I mean, look, someone like Chakravarti, yes, he doesn't have wickets, but he's got a good economy rate, and I suppose that's the one thing that's been helping him, obviously, with Sunil Nareen at the other end. Their bowling has been their key figure, KKR, this year. Their bowling is what has kept them into many a game. But now, when it comes to crunch matches like this, your characteristic has to come out. Shall we rewrite a script that is worth of their Bollywood movie kind of return or comeback for KKR? I think the spinners will definitely play a big one in this one today.
Oh, we have SRK, the owner, there, so it might be a Bollywood movie. We don't know about that. And now, Paul, KKR have scored the runs in IPL with a strike rate of 143.06, while CSK scored with a strike rate of only 133.74. So does CSK have that mindset to perform well today? And then who seems to be more strong in scoring first?
Well, last game was encouraging. Despite that, CSK obviously has had a really bad season. It was good to see Jadeja get some runs. His bowling has been halfway decent this season, and he's got some runs, but slowly, whereas last game it was a much more typical Jadeja innings. We've talked about Mhatre, is very exciting. I still think Dhoni has something to offer. I mean, if he bats himself gives himself a chance to actually face a few balls, that's something as well. If I was Dhoni, I'd be wanting to do that, to go out with a bit of a bang and prove that the little glimpses that we've seen still exist. Shivam Dubé as well. But I think that both sides have probably been disappointing with the bat. Sunil Nareen at the top for KKR has been pretty good, but hasn't got hasn't got the big runs like he might have done in previous seasons. It was good to see Andre Russell get some runs last time round, or second last time round as well. But they back down to number 9, but some of their players just have been a little bit underwhelming. Venkatesh Iyer, Raghavanchi's been pretty good. Ramandeep Singh hasn't had an enormous number of opportunities. Rinku Singh a little bit on the disappointing side. So I think both sides would say that from a batting point of view, it hasn't been the season that they've been looking for.
And also they've not been finishing well. That's also a concern. And speaking about battles, now Stanley, Dhoni's battle, it's intense against the KKR spinner Sunil Narayan. That has been a difficult one to face. And it's been a one-sided dominance with Dhoni being out twice and the strike rate has been just 52.
Yeah, most definitely. Look, at the end of the day, look at where and how Dhoni's being used. He's bringing himself pretty much lower in, and I think it's more to do with his inability to rotate strike and run in between the wickets. And I think that's where his major challenge is with regard to past injuries and healing is concerned. So, with regards to spin, I think we all know CSK has not been good. A combined middle order strike rate of 124, 32 wickets lost. That is where they've pretty much been losing the game. So how do you go about it? Now, it's a difficult one because now you've got half and half batters being asked to do the job in the middle order. So it's more of a gamble, as it were, that if it works, it works. If it doesn't, oh well, they're not batsmen after all. So this is where CSK got it wrong inside the auction. This is where I think teams have to get it right. The most difficult part to bat.
They need to go out again and check the who's what and how can they use their players well, especially now CSK has to look on to the next season. And now, Paul,
explore the shot and running between the wickets.
Yeah. And Paul, the star spin bowling all-rounder Ravindra Jadeja has dominated the veteran KKR batter and skipper Ajinkya Rahane in the head-to-head player battle. So will it be a trouble for Rahane in this game? Because when you see that Rahane has been dismissed only once and his strike rate has also been not that great, it's been 96.3.
Yeah, I mean, I think most players have got a pretty poor record against Jadeja over the journey because he has been one of the best bowlers, and especially in these sorts of conditions, he's just got that knack of A, going through the overs so quickly that 6 balls can be over before you know it. And B, as I've said many times before, he gets some to grip and some to go on straight. And players aren't really sure which one's going to do what because probably half the time Jadeja himself doesn't know because it's a little bit down to where the ball lands and what it does off the surface. I said it earlier on that Jadeja still, even though it hasn't been his best season, economy rate of 8.5 with the ball is impressive in this particular IPL. And, you know, Rahane, like most players, has to treat him with respect. And put an Australian angle on it, I've seen Jadeja run through Australian sides so many times throughout the years that Jadeja could be 55 and bowling, and I'd be a little bit nervous if I was facing him, if I was supporting his team facing him. So it doesn't surprise me that he has a good record against Rahane.
And Paul, do we see the all spin to win competition here because we have good spinners from both sides?
Yeah, we do, but I think that the KKR spinners have, as Stanley said, that the CSK spinners haven't done so well. The KKR spinners looking good. It'll be interesting if Moeen Ali gets some overs as well, because then they really are spin to win. They could potentially have up to 12 overs coming with the spin. Narayan has been pretty good, and as I said before, Varun Chakravarti absolutely superb. And Moeen Ali in the reasonably limited opportunities that he's been given on the whole has been pretty good as well. So I think that the spin of Noor Ahmed has been pretty decent as far as they're concerned, the CSK, and of course Jadeja not too bad. So, you know, both sides have pretty decent spin options, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and let's see how the options will be utilised today. And Stanley, the veteran KKR wicketkeeper batter Quinton de Kock has dominated the CSK pacer Khalil Ahmed in the head-to-head player battle. So is it going to be a concern for Khalil Ahmed in this game because he's taken it out once and the strike rate has been 153.3?
Well, for starters, that's if Quinton de Kock gets to play. And obviously, one thing that's happening in Khalil's world right now is that he's been the shining light, obviously, with regards to bowling inside the power play for CSK. So I think he's on the ball, he's on the money, he's bowling well. I think he's got the confidence. Will the conditions at Eden Garden suit his style of performance? Hopefully, the conditions can help him. I mean, because I think this is a match where if you can get early inroads into that KKR top order, we know their middle order has been shaky as well. Every now and then, that middle order just relies pretty much on power. And obviously, Ajinkya Rahane being the mortar or the cement that has pretty much held things together. Not much of a big strike rate you get from Ajinkya Rahane. So obviously, it's key that him being the front runner in terms of wicket taking is concerned. And obviously, Noor Ahmed, those two bowlers have pretty much been the mainstay of the CSK's bowling attack. So a lot of responsibility lies on their shoulders.
And Stanley, what kind of mindset now KKR will be in approach here, because they know that they have to perform really well to go in the race for the playoffs, and CSK they don't have any pressure, have nothing to lose.
Well, look, CSK is one of those teams. Sorry, I beg your pardon. KKR is one of those teams that retain the majority of their players. But I think going into this one, it's a different story when you look at where they are in terms of the tournament itself is concerned. They're the defending champions, and you're the defending champions. You've lost one of your top batters, who is now doing well for another team. But it's funny and awkward how this tournament has been about change in loyalty, and that change in loyalty has come and haunted their former masters. So a new KKR. But that batting lineup, obviously, they have to go and do lots more work inside the auction in terms of beefing up their batting with the loss of Shreyas Iyer. So lots of work to do in terms of the character. Can they do it without a batsman like Shreyas Iyer today?
We'll see that how that sort of shapes up. And who will be the performer of the day today for you, Stanley?
I think there's lots of responsibility that lies in the spinners, and I think Varun Chakravarti is one bowler that will probably do well for me. I'm looking forward to seeing him perform.
And Paul, who do you think today here will come out at the best when they are performing?
I'm going to go for the veteran. I keep on thinking something's going to happen, but MS Dhoni, maybe today, David, he'll bat up a bit higher, and I still think he's got it. So one to treat the crowd.
Oh, we have someone who's really supporting Dhoni. Let's see how can he come up here, because we all know how Captain Cool can perform, especially when there's no pressure, and how he has won games and maybe spoil the party. So and now Stanley, who will be coming out victorious at this stage today?
I think for it to all make sense, I'm rooting for KKR. I mean, they're the defending champions. For them to stay in the tournament will just make it more interesting for the box office.
Oh, that is going to be a box office run for sure. And if this goes down the wire, it's definitely going to be the all heated up battle. And Paul, who do you think will win today?
Yeah, I agree with Stanley. I think KKR deserve to be favourites, and I think they'll win. And I think they'll win pretty well.
Let's see how that shapes up. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining in. Your insights have always been as very useful. And now we'll see you tomorrow at Cricket Predicta. Keep watching the show. We will be there with the new episode. Thank you.